Hey, I'm going to use this tonight because I've been getting a lot of feedback that my microphone on my phone isn't working. And for those of you that keep asking about it, I don't know what the issue is. This happened like 6 months ago or something. Then it seemed to went away. I don't know if it has something to do with like the app or something to do with my phone or what. I took it into the Apple store. They had no idea. I don't know, and it's annoying. I am thinking about getting a new microphone that actually can plug into my iPhone, and I also think maybe I'll start doing them through off my phone from now on and using software on my computer. I've just been kind of lazy about setting that up, but hopefully, if you're watching, let me know if you can hear me okay through this. I should probably put my hair over here so that it doesn't rub into it. I'm not feeling super well today due to a food sensitivity, and it's really, really frustrating. Also, given the things that I'm going to talk about today. But can you guys who are watching hear me? Hear me at least? Please let me know. There's no. That's the other thing that's annoying about doing live videos through this app is it doesn't have like an audio meter, so I have no idea. I only know how I sound based on your feedback, especially since I don't usually watch these videos. So if somebody watching live can let me know, fingers crossed. I guess I can always just restart the video if you can't hear me. But yeah, I haven't been feeling well today, and for those of you who've been following my journey for a while, you know that I have food sensitivities, and I don't know what caused it, which is one of the most frustrating things. A goal for this year is I would really love to go and get a full blood work panel and also like get a full like food sensitivity check and all that, and just like have somebody tell me try to find some solid answers about what I'm going through, because I've talked about this so much I don't feel like talking about it right now, but it's just so frustrating. And this morning I felt completely fine, and I ate just like pasta with tomato sauce, and then suddenly I've had this reaction. And sometimes it can be from previous days before, but I don't remember having anything in the past few days that would have. Oh, actually, you know what? It just occurred to me. It could have been corn, which is really crazy. I tried out having some corn pasta, which I don't usually eat because I'm sensitive to corn, but corn doesn't usually cause this, but maybe that's what it is. Anyways, yes, I just don't feel great, and it's really, really frustrating because, when I have these reactions, I feel it's like a histamine reaction. If you guys ever have allergic reactions, if you have allergies, even when you get the cold and the flu, it's our bodies are a lot of times our histamines are reacting to help us feel better, and so it makes me feel like very cloudy and tired. I've just been like super tired. I took a nap today. I don't usually take naps. I slept in a little later than I usually do, and I just like haven't felt like I wanted to do any work. So that's also been really, really frustrating. So not to make this a downer video right away, I just like to share with you guys what's going through. And, I felt inspired to do this video, but now that I'm recording it, I'm realizing how low my energy is. So I don't know. And I still haven't received any feedback if the audio is working. So this could be a complete bust. But you know what? Sometimes you just got to try things and see how they work. What I want to start talking about tonight, and we'll definitely continue later on, especially when I'm feeling better, is the experience of when life throws you curveballs. So feeling sick, not feeling your best physically, can definitely be a curveball, right? And I know a lot of people are going through that. That's very common this time of year, is that a lot of people get sick. The cold and flu virus goes around, and it certainly can just be a very frustrating experience. Fortunately, I don't get sick very much, except unless you consider my food sensitivity reactions. But The other big curveball for me is that I am experiencing jury duty for the very first time. And I'm not, I don't know what the exact rules are. Like, they tell you not to talk about it on social media, but I don't know if that's like, don't talk about the details of the case or your experience at all. I'm really unclear, so I'll be vague until the case is over. And I probably, even then, I'm not, I don't know. I don't know what the rules are about it. But jury duty has just definitely been a really interesting experience that I wasn't expecting it to be. And mostly, I hate to say it, but mostly negative ways. And I've really been contemplating it a lot. It feels like I've been serving on jury duty forever. I've only done 2 days so far, and I'm not even picked for the jury yet. Like, the case that I'm on is taking so long for them to pick the jury. So that's really frustrating too, because I've just been reporting to this courthouse both Thursday and Friday of this past week. Today's Saturday, and it just like feels like such a long process. And the days haven't even been insanely long. We've had a ton of breaks, but like it's just weighed really, really heavy on me. And I wasn't expecting that at all. I really, like, every step of this process has been completely a surprise for me. I had very limited knowledge of what it was like to do jury duty. I had kind of like some preconceived notions in my head. And I did my research. Like, I tried to find like people writing about it and like, just whatever I could to prepare myself because I like to feel prepared. And nothing that I read prepared me. Like, and then, I've talked to friends about it, and most of my friends have been dismissed. Some of my friends have managed to never go do jury duty. I just don't know very many people that have done it. And so, or at least that have talked to me about it. And so I guess I kind of went into it thinking that I was not going to have to go through the process that I'm in right now. I thought, oh, like the chances of me getting picked are so low. Like, I'm going to go in there and they're going to dismiss me and it's going to be this 1 day thing. And like, I was very positive about it, but it's not what happened. Basically, I went in and, I was picked for what they call a panel. So there was like literally 300, maybe more people in this huge room. And then out of those people, like they picked these different groups and they brought them up to the different courtrooms in this huge building in downtown Los Angeles. And again, if anybody's watching, I would love just somebody to tell me that you can hear me, because if you can't, maybe I will I will end this video and re-record it another time when I'm feeling better. But yeah, so anybody who's watching, please just let me know. Yes, I can hear you, because I just have this insecurity that things aren't working because I have no way to tell, which is just so annoying. So I always apologize to you guys if there are technical difficulties, because I have no idea unless I get feedback. But I did just get a thumbs up. So something must be working. Okay. So anyways, I get picked for what they call a panel, went up to a room, or went up to like the court area, like floor, and then sat there for a while, went into the courtroom, and then they just proceeded to take us through the jury selection process. And it was just so, it has been, it's not over yet, so uncomfortable for me. It's brought up all sorts of emotions, and that's why I feel like this has been a big curveball for me, because I right now feel completely off, and I'm so frustrated because today is July 13th, or January 13th. And so we're almost halfway through the first month of the year. Up until a few days ago, I was like on fire. I felt like everything was going smoothly. I'd got my whole schedule together. I've been going to yoga almost every day. Things have just been flowing very, very well. And jury duty has changed my flow. Now I have to try so hard to make this a positive experience, to look on the bright side. this experience of jury duty is challenging me in ways I did not think it would, which is honestly, I think, amazing. It is forcing me to take extra good care of myself, to be gentle with myself. It is giving me an opportunity to experience something new. It's also giving me an opportunity to serve the city, which I felt kind of resentful and bitter about, to be honest. And then I decided, like, I need to look at this in the most positive way. I need to see this as something good because I don't believe that our lives are ever wasted. And I think what's been frustrating about this is it feels like it's been so out of my control. But I'm also hoping and trying to believe that most things in life happen for our best interest. Most things in our lives happen for a reason. And so if I just have to trust that I'm in this situation for some sort of a reason, whether it's simply just to learn how to manage my life when it gets out of flow. And I'm really grateful that this is happening so early at the beginning of the year when I'm so conscious and aware and my life is so much about intention right now. I feel like this is really the best time that it could happen, even though there's a number of reasons that it feels like a really horrible time. For instance, I'm supposed to travel a week from today. And if I get selected for this jury case, I don't know if I'll be able to travel, which will be, I expect it to be very upsetting. And so in my head, I've just been kind of going down all these like negative pathways, and I just have to keep reining myself in. So really what I want to share with you guys today, and I'll share with you as I go through the process and at the end of the process, everything that I'm learning from it, it's like we can, and the same thing goes with being sick. We can choose to feel sorry for ourselves. We can choose to feel like, oh, woe is me. We can choose to feel, oh, why am I in this situation? Why me? This is horrible timing, blah, blah, blah. Or we can choose to say that there's no such thing as bad timing because everything happens for a reason when it's supposed to. And it all just, our lives kind of unfold, and there's domino effects for everything. And as long as we're doing our best to follow our hearts and our intentions, and we're intentional and conscious and all that, maybe there is no such thing as a mistake, or is there ever such thing as, a bad situation, like even the most horrible things. Like, the thing for me with jury duty that's been so eye-opening, it's brought up a lot of like frustration and anger and a lot of ego. And I was able to realize that because I was feeling so emotional and frustrated about the experience that I wasn't that why me. I wasn't that like, woe is me, like, oh, this is awful, why do I have to do this type of a thing. Like, I was kind of throwing like an internal tantrum. Is that, I think I tried to say this word in another video. I did. I think it was on my Instagram. Anyways, throwing a tantrum internally through this experience. And like, I'm like, what do I have to do to get out of this? Like, and then I thought, if I have to go through this situation, I need to make the most of it. So I started reading some books to help me and listening to good podcasts and whatever I could find. And what I was learning through a lot of the resources that I turned to is that what I'm experiencing right now is a form of suffering. It's a relatively minor form of suffering, but it does feel like suffering because of the way that I've been experiencing it. And a lot of the reasons I'm suffering from this is because I'm very in my ego, right? Like a lot of this, why me, woe is me, I don't want to be here, blah, 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 I'm out of control. Like that's very about the ego. And I'm choosing to see this as an opportunity to really examine parts about myself that I need to work on. And sometimes when we're put in frustrating, challenging experiences, that's where we have an opportunity to see our weaknesses. That's where we have an opportunity to see where we're strong. And I'm actually even talking about this right now, feeling so ramped up about it because when I was reflecting at the end of last year and the beginning of this year about the things that I wanted to shift, a huge thing that's come up for me is resistance. And this is happening a lot for me physically with my yoga practice. I'm working through a lot of resistance. And I really want to conquer my limiting beliefs so that I can push myself to the next level. And I wonder if, because I've been so consciously going after that, because I've been kind of asking that from the universe, perhaps I'm serving on this jury duty that's been feeling very frustrating in order for me to release all of those stored up, bottled up emotions, right? Because, like, literally on the second day of jury duty, I got emotional and I started crying. I couldn't control myself. And I'm like there, like, in public, and there's tears are coming down. And I'm like, why am I crying? And I was like trying to hold it in, like trying not to cry. And I can maybe share with you guys some more of the details of this once I finish jury duty. But yeah, I felt sad about the situation. And I just didn't feel like I could hold it in. And then when I got home that night, I cried. I allowed myself to cry because I was alone and it was more appropriate to do it then. And it was like, I felt like I was just releasing a lot. And also the both nights that I've served so far, I decided for my yoga practice, since I'm going every day, I went to what's called yin, which is like a restorative form of yoga, where it's like an hour and 15 minutes of deep stretching. Hi, Debbie. And going to those classes has been so incredible. So I want to remind you guys, as I learn these lessons, is that when you're going through a challenging time, it's like, what can you do to support yourself and the healing process? How can you allow be gentle? How can you allow yourself to work through things? So what I've been doing is maybe I'll do like a video of like uh, my jury duty routine, my daily jury duty routine, because people love routine videos. I will definitely be doing like a post about it because I feel like there was just not enough information about jury duty out there that I could find. And I just want to, I've been documenting everything, like how long things have been taking, like, and, of course, no details about the case, but just the actual experiences. Because I just feel like people should know what they're getting themselves into, what they're going to experience, and be prepared. As usual, because of my personality, I'm always overly prepared as much as I possibly could be. So people that are on in the jury panel with me, I've been like noting how prepared I've been, right? So I did know to bring lots of water. So I brought a biggest water bottle filled with water. I brought some instant tea in case I wanted that. I brought food, so I brought a couple different types of snacks, like a couple food bars, crunchy snacks. I brought a instant soup cup. The first day and the second day, I brought some pasta that was actually really good, even sitting in my bag for hours. And I just made sure that I was fueled. I looked to see what restaurants I could eat at. Luckily, the part of downtown LA, there's like more vegan options than I even knew existed. That's a plus side. We've been having such long lunch breaks during jury duty that I've been able to like walk around downtown and get to know the neighborhoods better and check out what's there. So that's been nice. It certainly, there are times where it kind of feels like I'm in prison, like I'm in trouble. Like I don't know why. That might just be my interpretation. But overall, like it hasn't been horrible. Like we've had long breaks, for better or for worse. If you're prepared, it's for better. And then there's wireless internet there. So I brought my computer, and so I can set myself up to work there, and the Wi-Fi is decent. And then I can also go to like local cafes and work, which I did one of the days. And then I brought a book, so it's also a great opportunity to read. Honestly, I have a lot of trouble working when I'm emotionally kind of wound up and not feeling my best. Like, that's why one thing maybe I need to work on this year is like, how can I be my best self even when I'm not feeling great emotionally. And so maybe that's another lesson I need to learn from this jury duty experience, because it feels uncomfortable. So I want to learn how to feel uncomfortable in uncomfortable situations. Another great thing that yoga teaches you. And so I feel like this month, maybe that's what this month is about. Maybe this month is about that resistance, as I've talked about so much. And actually, the last time I made a video about this was before I even had the jury duty experience. So this is a whole new level of resistance I'm experiencing. So I just think this month is about breaking through that resistance and learning how to be comfortable and my best self no matter what. So anyway, so I brought my laptop. I brought my travel pillow, which I mainly use to put on my lap, or just to like help with various positions during the day so that I can release stress in my body, which has been great. I've been doing a lot of yoga stretches throughout each day because there's been a lot of sitting. And let's see, what else have I brought with me? Headphones, made sure my phone was charged, my computer was charged, plus I brought the power for both and all that. So I made sure that like I was fully prepared to utilize the downtime. But the most challenging part of jury duty for me has been when we've actually been in the courtroom. I haven't figured out how to verbalize the experience of it. So hopefully by the end I will be able to. But it feels so energetically heavy and draining in there. And it's like I feel like a trapped animal that's just desperate to escape. I'm like in that room, just like I don't even feel like myself. I really don't. I don't know. It's triggering something for me that I have not identified yet. I think what's coming up for me is feeling like I don't have any control because, as a resident or as a U.S. citizen, like I don't know exactly the laws, but, I'm pretty sure that like it's part of our duty as citizens to go to jury duty, especially when we're called, right? It's just something that most of us have to do. I don't know how some people avoid going. This is my first time, so I'm glad I've never had to go before, but um, you know, it's something that most of us are called in to do in our lifetimes, and it's just part of being a citizen, right? I was fine with that concept until I actually did it. And then now that I'm in the situation, I'm like, I can't believe this system. Why do we have to be forced to be here? Like, I'm just like really resistant to being forced to do anything that doesn't make logical sense. And I'm sitting there going like, why would they want jurors on a case if they don't want to be there? Like, and I'm just like sitting there in my head thinking how horrible this is, right? And I also recognize how selfish that is, because I've also been experiencing so much guilt having those emotions as I'm processing all of this in front of this guy who's on trial, or will be. And I'm sitting there going, you know what? Like, how selfish of me to be complaining internally and now publicly that I have to become a juror for this, right? Like, this guy's life is going to be changed in one way or another from this trial, from this instance, right? And, he's definitely got a worse off than I do. So why am I sitting there focused so much on why it's unpleasant? Hi, Jeff. Thanks for being here. So yeah, it's, the other thing. So going back to like why it feels unpleasant for me, I feel trapped. I feel out of control. I feel frustrated, resentful. I've been feeling conflicted about the case. Obviously, I'm not going to discuss any of the details. For those of you just joining, I'm talking about serving on jury duty. So the case itself is not super extreme, but it's also something that's a big subject matter in our country. And so it's been interesting because not only am I having a chance to reflect on my emotions and beliefs about it, but hearing the other prospective jurors talking about their own experiences and beliefs, it's been very eye-opening. And on the second day that I went in, they did dismiss some jurors. I was not one of them, as much as I would have liked to have been. But so they dismissed people, and it was really interesting to see who they dismissed, like based on the things that they said, right? And there were some people that I was very surprised to see dismissed, and other people that made complete sense, right? So I don't know. I guess like it's reflecting a lot about my personal life, and it's also about like the the court system in the country. I have a lot of mixed feelings about it, and they've certainly been shaped by the media. They've been shaped by seeing documentaries and things like on Netflix. There's been like, the O.J. Simpson trials, which I watched a bunch last year. All those movies about that, and then also the TV series like Making a Murderer and whatnot. And that the great HBO. There's been some really great ones on HBO, just about the whole justice system, and it is interesting to see it in person. But I think for me, it's like, I guess maybe I feel kind of helpless, or like they just don't really care in a way. It's really weird. It's just a weird experience. And if any of you guys want to share your experiences, I'd love to hear it. I would really love to hear more of, I don't want to focus too much on the negative side of it, just more of the like, if you have anything positive to share about jury duty, but also if you have any just insights or ideas, opinions that you want to share that leaning more towards the positive side is what I'm more interested in reading at the moment, because like I said, I don't want to dwell in any negativity. I just find it fascinating. Like jury selection to me is just like, and I grew up with my dad's a lawyer. So it also made me realize like how ignorant I've been, and I guess like I called my dad on my first day of the jury selection process, and my dad's like, "Oh, that's so great. Like how fun, like this will be so interesting." Like he's got that whole mindset, right? But I've just never really talked to him much about what this experience is like. It is making me want to learn more about it, because I do think it's wonderful that in our country we believe people are innocent until proven guilty. Like being reminded of that is really amazing. It also, the fact that you have the right to a fair trial. So it's taking them 3 days to pick a jury, which to me, I'm like, I had no idea it could take that long. Like my idea of jury duty is like you go in and they ask you a few questions and they pick people and then they dismiss people. Like I didn't think it was going to be this drawn out, but they are going through and asking us so many questions and spending so much time deliberating about this. I don't know, like the case itself seems kind of cut and dry to me. Like I can't imagine how long it could possibly take to even go through it. And I'm just like amazed. And so that I've got kind of a lot of these different thoughts about why do things take so long? Like it just feels like our government like has just so much red tape, but then like there's the pros and cons again. Like, wow, it's frustrating that it's taking so long to go through this process. But on the other hand, they're really spending a lot of time making sure that they're making the right decisions. And so if I were the one on trial, like I would want them to be doing the same thing. I would want them to be very careful about who they chose. But on the other hand, it seems odd to me to force people to do something. Like I think that's where all my resistance is coming. Because like, frankly, I don't want to be serving on jury right now. And then like I wonder, does anybody ever want to? It seems to me there's a number of people that are in the panel that seem kind of like they don't really care if they do or they don't. Like if I were to guess by the way that most people are acting on this panel that I'm in, most of them seem like very like whatever about it. They're like, like they don't really, I don't hear a lot of people complaining. There's a lot of older people that, I don't know, it doesn't seem to be bothering them. And so and my other feeling is like, it seems odd that they have to force people to become part of a jury and decide whether somebody's guilty or not. right? Like, isn't that weird? Like, that just seems weird to me. Uh, so I've just been thinking a lot about that. Like, is this really the best way to do things? And how do they, is this an old school way? Like, now I kind of want to look further into the court system and just try to understand it more, because it just strikes me as odd. And then I wonder, is there something off with me? Am I being selfish by being so resistant and stubborn? And should I be thinking, and am I unique in that? Like, do most people feel like it's an honor to be in a jury? Do most people feel like it's just their civil duty? Do most people feel like nonchalant? I don't know. I mean, maybe there's no such thing as what most people feel like, but I guess just looking around at the rest of the room, I kind of feel like there's almost like something wrong with me or something. I don't know. It's weird. And you're not really supposed to talk to each other, although I have talked to a few people, and like one person was, again, like, just seemed really like happy-go-lucky about the whole thing. Another person seemed a lot like me and didn't want to be there. And other people just kind of seemed, like I said, in between. So it's just been weird. And like I said from the beginning, I'm really just trying to find the positive and the lessons in all of this and share that with you guys. So I think anytime that we can examine ourselves more and work on ourselves and question ourselves is really a great experience. And when something throws us off, we can ask ourselves, why does it throw us off? Why does this feel like a curveball? And how can I adjust? How can I get back on track as quickly as possible? Or how can I improve myself? How can I look at this as a gift, right? Like, that's one of the things I've been hearing a lot from the spiritual teachers I've turned to through podcasts and books and all that, is they all say when life gives you something unexpected, when you feel like you're going through suffering, if you can look at it and say, thank you for this, even if it feels negative, uncomfortable, sad, whatever it may be, if you just say thank you and look for the good in it, then you're putting yourself in the best possible situation. Because in times like this, like, I keep wondering, like, could I have just not gone when I was summoned to jury duty? Like, what would have happened? Would I have gotten in trouble? Like, I've read about people being fined for this, but I chose to follow the rules and go in for jury duty and do as I was told. And so I don't feel like there was very much within my control. And so when things do not feel like they're within our control, or we have very limited control, that's where we don't really have much. We basically have two choices when things feel out of control. We can either choose to be upset, or we can choose to work through that upset and move into a higher path, right? We can choose to be sunken and miserable and negative and angry and frustrated, all of those things that have been coming up for me. I felt like I didn't know how to move through them. And when I get in, each time I get into that courtroom, it's an opportunity for me to walk in there and say, how can I do this differently? How can I shift my mentality so that I can make the most of whatever this may be? Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I saw a lot of hellos tonight, no feedback on the audio, so I assume you guys have been able to hear me this whole time. If not, I've just been talking to myself for 35 minutes, but thank you guys as always for being part of my journey, for reflecting on life with me, and yeah, just listening, holding space. I spent a lot of today, since I wasn't feeling good, in bed, and I was watching a lot of YouTube videos. Scott, good. The audio's good. Thank you. I go through phases. Like, lately I've been watching more YouTube videos than usual. Believe it or not, I don't usually spend a ton of time on YouTube. watching other people's videos, because sometimes different emotions come up where I'll feel competitive or I'll compare myself to them, blah, blah, blah. And so I was watching some bigger YouTube videos, just catching up on news or things that they were doing in their lives. And I do certainly have a tendency to compare myself. And I don't see a lot of people doing unedited live videos like I do. And sometimes I question the format a lot. But honestly, this is the format that feels best to me, because I love connecting with you guys that watch live. I love just sharing, and I don't enjoy editing right now in my life. And it feels nice to just be spontaneous and to just be authentic with you guys. And as I said, I've been talking about, a huge thing that I will do this year is to turn these videos into a kind of like a podcast, make audio files available so that you guys can listen to them while you're driving or doing errands or whatever else you want to do, if you prefer to just listen. Because these kind of are more like a podcast, but I still love showing my face and reading your comments and all that stuff that goes along with YouTube Live. So thank you again for giving me the opportunity to do this, and for responding and supporting and watching and tuning in. So many of you watch like every video that I do, and that's really amazing. I did see one big comment come through. English with Gassan said, I hope you talk about how you react towards people who change from being friends to people who you do not care, even though you are nice. I could absolutely do a video on that. So how do I react towards people who change from being friends? Okay. I have done videos about this in the past. I feel like maybe it was a couple years ago. So I will try to find that video and link to it, or you could just do a search on this channel for the word friend, and you'll probably find it, because I'm sure that is in the title of one of the videos, because I feel like I talked about this in depth, but just because I love being able to support you guys and I don't want you to have to do too much work to find the answers, I would say, I think that also ties back into this whole theme that I've been discussing tonight, is what do you do with challenging circumstances? One of the reasons that we tend to react negatively to things is because they don't fit our expectations, or that we have the expectations in the first place. So, a lot of the emotions coming up for me with jury duty is because I partially didn't know what to expect